Hello, everyone. Many blessings to all who is listening and ready to open their hearts to truth, love, and compassion. As the world seems to be under the spell of this deadly virus, it is really hard to talk about anything else because it is sad to see so many of you losing their loved ones in this physical reality. But always keep in mind that no one goes home unless it was planned by them. We all choose our own exit points, and when the time to go home has not been reached yet, then your angels will protect you from a physical death. I know this may be a hard concept for some of you to come to terms with, especially for those of you who are grieving. But please understand that everything happens with purpose and intention. There are agreements made between different souls for lessons to be learned from anything that occurs in our journey. And yes, it is very sad. And allow yourself to grieve and experience that sadness. But please keep and know in your hearts that this is all part of a bigger plan. And that they went home to a loving place and will be watching over every single one of you. So to all who is listening today, please release your fear of death, because life continues on after this physical realm, and it will do so eternally. Also, I see that it's very sad to see that so many of you are falling prey to the fear and the panic, to the manipulations and the brainwashing techniques or tactics that really are being used by those benefiting from that fear, which is just one of the many reasons why they released this virus in the first place. You see, fear opens the door for those running this world to control you in whatever direction suits their own best interests. And so this was the perfect tool for them to regain control over the masses, to break down unwanted structures and institutions, and to reduce the massive expenses of the extremely high population of elders who are no longer contributing to the wealth of those benefiting from your fear. In a human experience, fear is a very natural tool. It is a tool that keeps you safe. It is a tool used to keep you from being hurt. So it is very natural to the human condition. But when panic is installed into your hearts, and when it is installed intentionally, then that extreme vibration of fear and anxiety causes humans to go into self-preservation mode, which usually results into the ego flaring up and people becoming a threat to each other instead of helping each other. Fear has a way of convincing a person that the most important thing in an existence is survival. Unfortunately, that is an incorrect belief. Life is not about survival. It is about quality of life. It is about self-expansion and self-discovery. It is about beauty and creation. And so being in this frequency of extreme fear is a dangerous state to be in, as that only leads to greater destruction. It leads to more panic, and in this case, spreading the virus even more than necessary. It really is a vicious cycle that only leads to more of what you don't want to experience. Fear puts you in a state of wanting to be told what to do, because you feel you are not qualified enough to make a good assessment or have an opinion on how to address the issue, and those benefiting from this are counting on that exact response. This turns every individual that falls into this herd mentality into an easy manipulated target for those who do not have your best interest at heart. Now, many of you have requested that same thing from my sweet Emma, but she knows that she is not here to tell you what to think, what to do, or what to believe. And I know she won't appreciate me addressing this for her. But she is only here, or let me say it in a different way. It is only her intention, her purpose to share with you insights and understandings, to share with you spiritual wisdom and knowledge that has been passed on to her. And it is then each and everyone's own responsibility to choose what you do with that wisdom. Do you approach it with love, or do you approach it with fear? And I can say that I'm very proud of her for standing within her power, as the journey of a light bringer is not an easy one. So thank you, Emma, for doing this. Now, let's step away from the blame story, because I believe it is far more important to look at the spiritual reason behind this occurrence and what it is supposed to teach us, or how it is meant to help us expand individually and as a collective, so we can turn this event into the exact opposite of what they who act from ego and greed wanted to achieve. More spiritually enlightened, self-empowered, independently thinking souls who understand just how powerful their minds and hearts are to expand as souls and as humans, and to return to our essence, which is love. That is the purpose behind this event, the spiritual purpose. First of all, let me give you some perspectives, because these extreme panic attacks are really not necessary. You see, every year between 200 and 600,000 respiratory deaths globally are associated with seasonal influenza. That is over 1,000 deaths a day, and every year millions of people all over the world are infected and become ill because of the flu virus. Yet, no panic sets in. About 20,000 people every day die of starvation, of hunger. And yes, this happens in the Western worlds as well. If you think about it, that is over 7 million people a year that die of hunger. Yet no action is being taken to stop these pandemics. And the reason why the world no longer reacts to these threats is because people have become used to hearing about them. and they have become desensitized to them. And when humans become familiar with these invisible threats, then those who created these threats can no longer profit financially or benefit from them, because no human panic can be created from what we are familiar with. So they no longer use and abuse the media and governments to introduce a panic in the degree that you see now today with the coronavirus. They will still fear people into taking their harmful vaccines, but panic can no longer be created. So new threats are released as people fear the unknown, and as there is little known about this current virus, and only guesses and estimations can be given, panic arises and people go into self-preservation modus, which unfortunately leads to exactly what you are fearing. So from a human perspective, this is a directed attack to install fear and imbalance within communities and the collective of mankind. So more control and a suppression of spiritual awakening can occur, because that doesn't benefit the group of entities who rule this world. But why is this happening from a spiritual perspective? What are the lessons to be learned from this, and how can it serve us instead of destroy us? That is what I really want to look into with you today. Mankind has become cold and distant from each other for far too long. Understand that you choose a life on earth to be stripped away from who you truly are. So through this state of relativity or duality, you can then find your way back to who you truly are, which is what you call a reawakening. And so through your search and journey on earth to rediscover yourself, to get a better insight of who you are, what your talents are, how well you can create your own reality, your own future, how you can manifest your own dreams. That entire journey gives you or allows you to have a more profound experience and understanding of that which your soul already knows conceptually. In other words, in order to truly experience that you are pure love, you have to experience the opposite of that, so you can then experience pure love on a broader spectrum, on a deeper level. So as a human collective and from a human perspective, you have now been experiencing the illusion of distance, the illusion of disconnect and separation for some time now. And yes, it is an illusion, because energetically and from a soul level, we are all one being. We are all one family. But here on earth, we all have become strangers to each other, even within our own families. You have stopped living as friendly and helpful communities a long time ago, and you have become ego-driven, disconnected, and conspicuously uninvolved with each other as a human race. And many of you only focus on hurting each other through judgment and verbal attacks from behind the safety of your screens in order to create a false sense of control and power within. Your addiction with communicating and connecting solely through social media and technical devices has created more loneliness and more separation than ever before. And now this virus is forcing all of you into the ultimate state of disconnect, because human contact and physical touch is being put on hold in many of your countries. You see, you have to understand that when humans go into an energetic state of disconnect, that not only just the humans, but all species and living consciousness on this earth will be suffering from that ability to disconnect and separate from that which you see as the other that is not me. Every creature inhabiting this earth and earth itself suffers from this disconnection because we no longer see earth and the animals as a part of us and as our home, and therefore create and manifest destruction and abuse of our home and those beautiful animals who inhabit it. So let's get back to the spiritual reason and the expansion that will flow from this global event. This virus forces humanity to slow down, to take time to self-reflect, to reflect upon your life, upon your dreams, upon your own awakening process. You see, the human race is going through great energetic changes, just like Mother Earth is. A lot of people are moving slowly into a higher vibrational frequency and a dimensional plane. And this is very much against the will of those who rule this world, as they are slowly losing grip and control over all of you. So with this attempt to bring people back onto their knees to regain control over your minds through fear and panic, they are not realizing that this is a great opportunity for all of you to rise and transcend the fears and focus on restoring your humanity, your connection, your compassion, your love. Your home needs to be restored as well. This is an opportunity to choose love above all else. Now keep in mind that this transcendence will take time, but this virus is one of the catalysts that will help humanity to awaken and create a new tomorrow. And yes, I said one of. We've had a few in the past already, and more, unfortunately, will have to come in the future. An aftermath of the reaction to this virus will arise. Governments and their actions will be questioned and fall. New perspectives will be created within mankind, and new prospects will flow from those new perspectives. Economic changes will arise, and priorities will be shifted. Now, as humanity is going through these ascension processes, these energy shifts, you can say, understand that your physical body, your DNA strands are undergoing shifts and changes as well. And this does create enormous fatigue and restlessness within people. Many of you have already been experiencing this drained feeling for some time now, as so many have been going through cleansing processes and these changes energetically. This virus and the measurements that countries are taking gives many of you the chance to slow down, to rest when your body requests it, to catch up on extra sleep. So please, please listen to your body and provide it with the rest that it is requesting. Respect and love yourself enough to listen to what your soul and body are telling you, because now is the ideal time to do so. So use your time off well for those of you who are forced to stay home. Understand that you are not going through this alone. Many intergalactic beings are helping with these ascensions and this virus outbreak. They are helping to guide the energies to flow in the positive, expansive direction for mankind. Because they know that the time is now for mankind to ascend into a higher understanding of the self and its universe. And they also benefit from this ascension, because all is interconnected and related. They want nothing more than for you to move into a more peaceful, more balanced and connected reality, because we are all one, and what happens to mankind and its planet with all of its beings not only affects you, but also affects the entire universe. So find gratitude for their assistance. Communicate to them as all physical beings are a collective of all intergalactic races. We really are all one family. So know and understand that these galactic beings love you and only want to help you expand as souls, as it benefits and influences all that is. So to end this message, understand that the time has come for love. And what this virus is here to do is to move people into a direction of love and reconnection. To move you into a global unity as the entire world is dealing with the same problem. You see, love is always the opposite of fear. And we always make very different decisions out of love than we do out of fear. To love means to make the decisions to take something as a part of yourself. To feel the divine connection amongst all beings. You are the one who gives love, but you're also the one who takes love away. But we are all one being. We are all connected. To love means to make the decision to take something as a part of yourself. To feel the divine connection between all beings. We are all one, so start making decisions from a seed of love and start taking that which you see as the other, that which is separated from you, as a part of yourself. I know it is hard for people to put away their judgment, but I am God and I am the devil, and so are all of you. There cannot be one without the other, and we are all coming from God's source. We create duality in order to experience our truest nature, because you cannot experience what you are until you have experienced what you are not. Understand that this virus is a manifestation of the failure to do this exact thing. It is a manifestation of the failure to see the other as a part of yourself. It is a manifestation of the separation that we face daily as a human being. For far too long now has humanity failed to allow the most basic human physical and emotional needs to be a natural part of our existence. We have all pushed these unwanted physical disabilities and emotional imbalances away, and we have rejected them over and over again because we believe that certain feelings and certain physical discomforts are not meant to be, are not meant to exist, are bad, are wrong. But they are all part of who we are. And the rejection of these physical and emotional imbalances has only led to the creation of depression, mental health problems, suicides, and it has created an inability for people to thrive in life, to empower themselves, to see themselves as the divine beings that they really are. For far too long now have humans failed to see Mother Earth as a part of themselves, which has resulted into the destruction of your beautiful home. For far too long now have businesses, governments, and rulers failed to see and accept their employees and citizens as a part of themselves, and have they profited off of their suffering. People, this needs to end. This all needs to end. And the time is now to use these times of quarantine to take responsibility for and really reflect upon your own actions and your reactions, your perspectives and your beliefs, your inner expansion and your awakening process, your dreams and your passions. It is time to claim ownership over your own fears and really take responsibility for them and how they affect you and the way you communicate to people. You allow fear in. Some of you even invite it willingly and use it as an excuse to not have to do the work of healing. Don't let fear turn your back on yourself and your galactic and human family. You wouldn't turn away and dismiss a child that is crying for help when it is afraid of the shadows in the closets, would you? No. It is only by really owning and taking responsibility for your own fear that you can and will discover the reasons behind your fears. Because your fears are really some great tools to expose exactly what it is that you don't want, so you can then place your focus on what you do want. And when we stop being in a state of resistance and instead start going into a frequency of acceptance of what is at this moment, then we can refocus our energy and attention to what we do want in life. And in doing so, create and manifest a better tomorrow. Living mindfully in this matter will not only take away fears and worries and stress and frustration, but it will create more abundance. It will create joy and prosperity and passion and happiness and balance in life. You will become more loving towards yourself and towards everything outside of yourself, because the outside belongs and always will be a part of the inside of your heart and soul, whether you are ready to acknowledge that or not. So my question to you, and the question that you have to ask yourself is, are you ready to start embracing the love, the creative power, and the limitless possibilities that God's source has installed within each and every one of us? And in doing so, create and manifest a safer, more balanced, and loving world? Or will you continue to fall prey to the fear and panic that others manifest within you and act from a source of self-preservation, and in doing so, create the illusion of safety and manifest more fear and suffering within the world you live in? Hear my words. We have to do all of this together, united from love, if we want to see changes. Because whether we like to hear it or not, we as a collective, all of us, create the suffering upon this planet. either consciously by our actions that we take, by the decisions that we make, by the choices that we make regarding our emotional or thought processing, or unconsciously, just by the fears that we choose to stay in. You all have the ability to transcend suffering and transcend this herd mentality. You really do. You all have the power to choose whether you respond from a source of love or from a source of fear. You all have the power to make changes inside and out. You are all capable of doing the inner work and release all judgment, fear, violence, and other lower frequencies that will only hold all of you down and create more suffering and more pain. You all have the power to take the best interests of others as a part of your own, without creating or sacrificing your own best interests. Because you, all of you, are capable to master the art of love and compassion. So choose love above all else. May blessings and peace be experienced by you all.
My love to you.
My love to you. Namaste.